Myanmar has a long, colorful, and relatively complex history. The Burmese, the largest ethnic group in modern Myanmar, were not the first inhabitants of Myanmar. Before the Burmese migrated and established dynasties, the Pyay people from Yunnan settled along the Irrawaddy River Delta in the 2nd century BC. In the 4th century AD, the Pyay established kingdoms along the southern part of modern Myanmar, such as Pyay. Further south, the Mon people migrated from the Hariphunchai Kingdom and the Dvaravati Kingdom in the east and settled and established kingdoms along the lower Burmese coast in the early 9th century. The Burmese migrated to the upper Irrawaddy River Delta in the early 9th century from the Nanzhao Kingdom. They established the Pagan Kingdom, 1044-1287, which unified the Irrawaddy Delta for the first time and pacified its peripheral regions. The Burmese language and culture gradually replaced Pyay and Mon during this period. After the fall of the pagan dynasty in 1287 by Mongol invaders, the kingdom was divided into the Ava Kingdom, the Hantawadi Kingdom, the Arakan Kingdom, and the Shan State Confederation. These kingdoms kept each other at bay through unstable alliances and constant war. In the latter half of the 16th century, the Taungoo dynasty, 1510-1752, reunited the country and established the largest empire in Southeast Asian history, but it was short-lived. The Taungoo kings introduced administrative and economic reforms, which led to a period of stability, peace, and prosperity for the kingdom in the 17th and early 18th centuries. In the late 18th century, the Konbaung dynasty restored the kingdom, continuing the reforms of the Taungoo dynasty, which brought dominion over the surrounding territories and produced the most civilized state in Southeast Asia. The Konbaung dynasty, during its development, waged wars with all its neighbors. The kingdom was eventually colonized by the British Empire after 6 decades of conflict, 1824-85. The British rule brought about drastic and lasting changes to the society, economy, culture, administration, and lifestyle of the people. The British colonialists deliberately created differences between ethnic groups to cause division, which is why, since independence in 1948, the country has fallen into the longest civil war that has not been fully resolved to this day. The country's power fell into the hands of the military in many forms from 1962 to 2010. This period made Myanmar one of the least developed countries in the world. Early period Pyay city-states. Detailed article Pyay city-states. Mon kingdoms. Detailed article Mon states in Myanmar. In the 1st century BC, the Pyay people migrated here and proceeded to build city-states with trade relations with India and China. Among them, the strongest was the Sri Kshetra kingdom, but it was abandoned in 656. After that, a process of national re-establishment took place, but by the mid-800s, it was invaded by the Nanzhao people. Around the year 800, the Burmese people began migrating from present-day Tibet to the Irrawaddy Delta. By 849, they had established their own state centered around Pagan, which grew in power. The first unification of Myanmar by the Pagan dynasty, 849-1297, main article, Pagan Kingdom. During the reign of Anaratha, 1044-10777, the Burmese had extended their influence throughout present-day Myanmar. By the 1100s, large areas of mainland Southeast Asia were under the control of the Pagan Kingdom, with its capital at Mandalay. According to the oral histories of the Burmese and Mon people, there was once a rich and civilized Mon state in the Irrawaddy Delta, the Thaton Kingdom. But King Pagan Anaratha annexed this Mon kingdom. However, no convincing archaeological evidence of the existence of this Mon state has been found, perhaps because archaeological research has been conducted mainly in Upper Burma. Perhaps, under pressure from the Khmer Empire, the Mon people from Dvaravati, in modern-day central Thailand, were forced to migrate to Lower Burma around the 9th century. Over the course of more than 200 years, by the end of the 13th century, the Pagan Empire flourished, controlling most of the territory of present-day Myanmar. This was a Buddhist kingdom whose remaining temples in Bagan today not only demonstrate the peak of agricultural wealth, but also demonstrate the people's understanding of mathematics, geometry, and construction. The temples in Bagan span an area of 40 square kilometers on the banks of the Irrawaddy River. Pagan is the golden age from the 11th to 13th centuries in the minds of the Burmese. Period of devastation and division. By the end of the 13th century, Kublai Khan led the Mongol invasion of Myanmar, and the city of Pagan was sacked and then abandoned, leaving only temples run by Buddhist monasteries. Although the Mongols withdrew soon after sacking Pagan, the Pagan dynasty collapsed completely. Myanmar entered a period of division that lasted for nearly 300 years.